Backing up your personal game collection could be a daunting task, especially where to get started. Let's talk about that. Hello and welcome to Modern Broadcast. Now let's talk about some retro gaming preservation. Today we'll be looking at two devices to back up your personal game collection, the Retrode 2 and the RetroBlaster 2.0. Both offer a simple plug-and-play solution for backing up your collection. I'll have links in the description for both these devices below. Starting with the Retrode 2, the Retrode is a simple plug-and-play device that is meant for backing up your game collection or playing your games on the computer. Retrode's base unit supports Super Nintendo games and Sega Genesis games natively. They sell a variety of adapters, however they are rather expensive secondhand, and along with the device itself is almost always out of stock. Opening the top of the device, we see its Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis ports. On the face of the device, we have the Genesis controller ports, along on the sides the Super Nintendo controller ports. When plugged into the computer, the device is recognized as a USB drive called Retrode. Let's go ahead and back up some Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy Advance games. So here we are over on the computer now, and as you can see down here at the bottom, it's called Retrode. So let's go ahead and open up this file. Oh, I forgot you have to push the button on the Retrode in order for the game to load, so let's reopen this now. And here we can see Rocket Knight for the Sega Genesis. So let's drag it over here, and this will make a backup copy of our game. We can also just open up the file right there on the device, and we could play it as normal. What the Retrode does very nice is just the absolute plug and play of you plug in your cartridge, you plug it in the computer, you open it up, you drag it and drop it, and it's ready to go. Alright, now that that's done backing up, we have to push the bottom button on top of the Retrode again. It will disconnect and shut down our window. And let's go ahead and put in our next game. Here we have our X-Men 2 Clone Wars. Let's go ahead and drag this over and make a copy as well. Here we have our Final Fantasy Tactics for the Game Boy Advance, utilizing that adapter. So when doing Super Nintendo games, you would think you would put it in, facing forward. However, it doesn't fit. So you have to turn the cartridge around, so you're looking at the back label, and plug it in. So you'll see inside here that there's an SRM file along with the Super Nintendo game file. And what that is actually the saved memory on the cartridge itself. So we can drag that over here and continue our save file on our computer. Alright, let's go ahead and start testing these games out and making sure that they work. So, booting up Rocket Knight now. And we'll do a little gameplay just to make sure. I'm not sure how many of you have actually played, but I always found the art style very, very cool with this game. I mean, just look at this intro sequence. It's great. But as we can see, I mean, the game is starting up just fine and is running as if it was on the actual cartridge. It's pretty great. Alright, let's go ahead and jump on over to X-Men. This was so cool at the time, where it just puts you right in the middle of the game. No start screen or nothing to start out. You basically got to play the first level, or until you died, and then you went to the main menu. Just really cool, and definitely excited that they're bringing it back with X-Men 97. Again, we see that the game is running flawless with no issues at all. So once again, it's just really great. It's a little kind of disorienting to play on a keyboard when it's meant to be played with a controller. I keep accidentally pushing the wrong button to jump or to attack. But no, just really great game. So one thing that I noticed is that the Retrode will not boot up the Final Fantasy Tactics game. I've tried it multiple times and with multiple emulators, and for whatever reason, it was just a bad dump. So we're going to move on to Super Nintendo and do Batman. So the intro part of this game is pretty lengthy with the conversation with Joker, Harley Quinn, Alfred, and Batman. So I went ahead and just cut all that out so we can get right into gameplay, kind of test our buttons here, see what's what on the keyboard. But this game plays as a beat 'em up, and it's got music actual from the animated series, just a faithful recreation almost. It's great. They also made a Sega Genesis version of this game, and the music, I gotta say, is a lot better on that one, and it plays a little bit differently than this one does, so it's really personal preference between the two. A little interesting here is that we have that save file, but for some reason I couldn't get RetroArch to read it. I even tried dragging it over, and for whatever reason I just couldn't figure out how to do it. So I switched to a standalone emulator and was able to get it to work then. This here is the RetroBlaster 2.0 by RetroStage. Although it doesn't look like much, this is an effective tool to have in your arsenal as it can back up Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, and Sega Genesis games. Mind you that this device is modular and requires you to purchase its various modules. Each are fairly inexpensive, however, and when purchasing the device, you get one module of your choosing for free. The RetroBlaster has two GPIO rails for the desired system module, a 5V to 3V switch for dumping or even writing your games. Yes, that's correct, the RetroBlaster can even write games using RetroFlag's blaster cartridges. I've made one here for my custom Game Boy game Everstar. If you want a video on how to write your own games using the RetroBlaster, let me know in the comments below. Let's go over to our computer and head over to the RetroFlag GitHub page to download the software we'll need to dump our games. The link will be in the description down below. Here we are on the GitHub page, and what you'll want to do is head on up to the RetroBlaster up top here and click on that. From here you want to click on RetroBlaster software. The zip folder here, right now the current version is 2.1.1. and click download. While that download finishes up, what we're going to do is go ahead and set up our NES module for the board. Let's go ahead and grab that here. So here we have the module, and a lot of people ask kind of how do you put this on. As you can see, there's a little half circle here on this end of the board, and on the board here there is a half circle. Just line those up, make sure to get all the pins in the holes, try to be careful not to bend them, and then just push down. Let's go ahead and grab Bubble Bobble here and put it in the cartridge, just push it down, make sure it's firm and secure, and then we'll finish up setting up things on our computer. So here we are back on our desktop. And here is our RetroBlaster folder we downloaded. Let's go right click on that and go to 7-zip and execute that here. Perfect. Now that we got that all set up, let's go ahead and open up this folder. Oh, open on my other monitor. Let's grab that. Bring it on over. And open up the folder inside, and there is the software. So we'll go ahead and open that up now. Alright, opening up the software. Here we can mess with what type of mapper chip is inside. Let's go ahead and just hit dump cart. Alright, let's go ahead and name it the game, which is Bubble Bobble. And hit save. It's saying that we don't have a mapper selected, so let's go ahead and select the mapper. If you don't know which mapper that it is, I've included a link in the description that has a list of all NES games, or pretty close, and their mappers. After referring to the list, we need the MMC1 mapper, and let's go ahead and click dump. Let's name our file type. Let's name it Bubble Bobble, and hit save. Here it's going to ask for the PRG file, and if you're not sure what size the PRG file for the game is, you can refer to that list as well, as it has that listed. We know that this is 128, so let's hit OK. And then it's going to ask for the CHR RAM. Again, refer to that list, and this one is 32. And OK. Does the game use SRAM for battery backup saving? For this one, no. And OK. Here you'll see that it begins dumping, and the RAM. It'll play a sound effect, and it's all done. And it's right here on the desktop. Let's drag this over. And here's our file. Let's go ahead and test it out. Well, this isn't good. So, this was a bad dump. This can happen with these old cartridges, and that's why it's important to, have them reserved, have them protected, is eventually the boards inside do go bad. I've dumped this game probably 8 times, and this was the best that I got. Just finished the dump of Breakthrough. Let's go ahead and drag it on over and test this. I mean, this one, the screen looks great. The audio is working just fine. No real issues. So it really just goes to show what time can do in regards to these old cartridges. Let's move over to Nintendo 64. The RetroBlaster can even support ROM hacks. Here I have Animal Forest, which is Animal Crossing, that was released in Japan for the Nintendo 64. It works like a charm. Lastly, let's do a backup of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Here we just booted up the file. Again, no issues, and it works really well. I think one complaint that I have about the RetroBlaster is that the pins are very, very tight. Now that's a good thing for dumping, but removing the device is hard. I strongly suggest that you use a pencil or a pen and you get underneath the side here and just ever so lightly pry up. And as you can see, the pins are starting to show, coming up. So let's go to the other side now and pry up on this side. We'll want to do this back and forth several times in order to get it up and out of the connectors. So we got it out now, and as you can see, I bent mine pretty much day one when I first took it out without using the pin. Since using it, it's gotten better, but it's still kind of disappointing. So just be careful when removing the modules. Overall, are these methods perfect? No. But being able to preserve your game collection allows you to not only keep them protected, but allows you to play them in the modern era. What are your thoughts on these two devices? What are some games in your collection that you'd like to protect? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. I try to post a new video every week. Also be sure to follow me on social media at ModernBroadcast.